Whether you are coming from the other forms of sim racing or you are completely new blood coming to this hobby, you might find yourself all over the road not being capable of getting the car to do what you would like to. Today, that is going to change. Somewhat, but sure can we get you at least fast enough to enjoy the best rallying has to offer. This guide will focus on the basics, which means that if you struggle to keep the car at high speeds composed, if you struggle to drive on the optimal racing line and you desperately need to level up your car control, or you have not even played your first rally game yet, you are just where you need to be. If you're experienced, you might not get as much useful information, but you might want to share your tips in the comments. For the small boys who are just getting into it, let's begin. Settings, hardware preparation, choosing a title. In case you have not yet chosen the game or hardware for your experience, I will have to send you to my previous guide which focuses on this topic in a very elaborate manner, so it's only a click away. Racing line. Let's start with a bit of theory, mainly the racing line, because rallying does introduce many new concepts to the geometrical racing line that many think to be the optimal. In rallying, the optimal racing line looks a little like this. You can see that the most of the cornering is done on the entry part that can be seen as you're entering the corner. This makes the most difficult part of cornering happen on the part that you can get the most informations visually. Then you need to turn in and hit the late apex and extend your line to the other side of the road to conserve energy. The reason this line is superior is because you're cornering and braking mostly on the part that you can see, and that because on the exit I'm all on the throttle. I'm going to make up some time on a straight after the corner because of higher speeds that you can build up. But if the corner suddenly tightens more than expected, I can just get off throttle and load the tires with steering and corner harder without crashing. Obviously, as you get more experienced, you might find yourself using different racing lines when after the corner there is another corner instead of a straight. But this racing line is very competitive on some corners, and while on others, if for example quick sequence of corners, it might be inferior, it guarantees a finish line instead of a broken car. Pacenotes. Now, in rallying you might have noticed that there is this guy who sits next to you. And boy is he there for more than just moral support. The pacenotes used in most games involve ranking the corners from 1 to 6, with many variations like left 6 minus, over crest, or right 3 don't cut. They tend to be self-explanatory. Simply, first you need to focus whether it's left or right. Then the number. 1 is the tightest corner, with 6 the easiest. There are some specialties like square, which is a 90-degree corner, or a pinch, which is above 90 degrees. The best way to come to grips with it is to use visual pacenotes for the reference. Understanding pacenotes language is easy compared to something like German, but it's to get used to the listening to the co-driver while going those 200 km an hour on a gravel road in the middle of a forest. This can only come to you with time. Just for God's sake, don't turn the pacenotes off. That's a highway to hell. Car control and road surfaces. So now you know what corner are you heading into and how to take on it. Rallying does include many surfaces, and to handle them rather than learning corner after corner on a stage, it's better to build up a good car control so that you can get the sixth sense of when to brake, turn in and handle the car around the corner. A bit about surfaces. Tarmac. This surface gives you the most grip and easily predictable cornering, but it can get pretty fast, especially when you're going for that Krispy Kreme. Tarmac is a great surface to come to grips with rallying if you're coming from games like Assetto Corsa or R-Factor. The tarmac comes at many variations. You can get the Buttersmooth Spain or Nightmarish check stages, with tarmac being at the classical dense and disingenuous. Snow. Snow is similar to gravel, except the grip levels are lower, but the driving is identical to gravel, except you can use snowbanks to slow you down by crashing into them, gently of course, onto the gravel. Gravel comes in many varieties, and if you pick RBR as your game of choice, there are so many types of gravel that it will be difficult to prepare you for everyone. But in general, cornering on gravel is best done by all 4 tires, instead of just front ones. I am of course talking about power sliding. With power sliding, the tires bite the gravel, giving you that grip we're all after. Obviously, the question is, how do you get the car sliding And well, you need to move weight into the front of the car, or build up side-to-side momentum, or throttle through. Richard Benz Rally has a great training levels for this, and RBR is free, by the way. But quick crash course. If you're coming from a corner to corner, just turning in hardly can unsettle the car and give you the slide you want. But with just a single corner, if you're coming to a sharp corner with high speed, the braking moves your weight to the front, making a simple turn-in into a sideways action. But this all is very car dependent, so let's talk about the cars. The cars are divided by a powertrain and how long are the wheels apart. Front wheel drives. Front wheel drives understeer under the throttle. This means that the car will try to rotate back when under throttle. On gravel you might find power sliding impossible, then it's a good idea to use a maximum turning angle to simulate power slide with at least front tires. This overloading of tires might sometimes work better than keeping the tires optimally loaded. Also, if you're in an uncontrollable slide, just step on the throttle and the car will straighten up, just like after chemotherapy. Rear wheel drives. These bad boys are very tricky to drive, especially on gravel. You need to watch for the throttle because they are the opposite of front wheel drives, and they will oversteer under throttle. Advantage is that sliding action is summoned just by stepping on the throttle, but driving these fast requires excellent car control. All-wheel drives. The most optimal drivetrain combines the previous two and both understeers and oversteers, depending on the car and setup. They offer great controllability of sliding and generally are pretty forgiving, but that goes from car to car. If you're a beginner, I would choose either between all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. The cars are then divided by wheelbase. Longer cars tend to be stable in fast corners and difficult to bring to a slide. Look at Evo 10 for example. Shorter cars like this Peugeot are unstable but easy to bring into a slide. I talked about some driving techniques already, and this is a big part of car control, of determining when to use one over the other. In my opinion, the great way to build up car control is in a free play, sliding all over the place and coming to grips with the car. Once again, practice makes the real slim slidey. Tire choice and repairs. Tires. Soft tire provides you with the most grip but wears off rather quickly. Medium is medium and hard provides worse performance but lasts for longer. Wet tires are to be used when raining, and trust me, even if only one stage has rain, take the wet tire. The difference is night and day, because with high speeds, the regular tire will start to aquaplank on the water, and boy, will your life flash before your eyes when the car suddenly starts pulling to one side. Same goes for snow tire. For example, in Monte Carlo, always pick the snow tire. The soft tire is rarely useful and can lead to brown spots on your clothing. Repairs. You need to be big brains with your repair time because you have only 45 minutes and you do not want to spend that time by cleaning your car, but repairing the most important. So priorities people, priorities. First, you should always fix the things that give you traction and braking, which means things like suspension, brakes and steering, because unreliable brakes lead to a ditch and suspension can severely let you down when you lean on it. Then focus on power department, which means engine and transmission. Obviously, any functional part that is severely damaged needs to be repaired, which means that if you have a medium wear on a suspension but destroyed transmission, then repair the transmission. But following this order when nothing is critical is hopefully going to keep you the right side up. One extra thing is that while repairing something like turbo might, for example, seem unnecessary, some cars like Mr. Peugeot are heavily turbo dependent, so do not underestimate the turbo's importance. Aerodynamics and bodywork do not matter a whole lot in rallying, so overall use common sense, and if you cannot be bothered, you can use auto repair. RBR does not have that feature, but Dirt Rally and WRC do, and I approve of their decision making most of the time, so always check. Okay, the video is already too long, so I could make second part to this if I once again find some time in the closet. But write your thoughts in the comments, and if you have some questions, don't be afraid to ask. And keep in mind that subscribing to this channel is appreciated. And explosion.